No way that I could come up with a worst list for this trilogy, so we'll be back next week with a brand new subject here on Top 5. Well, if he won't do it, I will. As a general in the Dino Rob army, it is my job to destroy this show and its hosts. Back to the Future is something your precious Walter holds near and dear to his heart. And while you all might agree that this trilogy is nearly flawless, nothing's perfect. The glorious 1980s may have spawned this franchise, but when you really try and break down these films, they don't make any sense. Plot holes, inconsistencies, and paradoxes within paradoxes within paradoxes comprise a series of movies that are more overrated than Avatar and Avatar combined. You all may claim to love these motion pictures, but what you really love is hearing the negative. You love to hear others hate. After all, aren't you on this channel to watch that other buffoon complain about movies and TV shows that were meant for babies? Sorry, is this intro too long for you? Enjoy the hate. These are the top 5 worst Back to the Future trilogy moments. Number 5.
He's a peeping Tom.
Marty's father isn't just a total loser who isn't worth saving, he's also a complete pervert. They have to establish George McFly as someone without any kind of gumption or will to defend himself or others. He's a super weird and eccentric guy. We understand this. But did they have to make him a peeping Tom? This was set up earlier in the movie with the McFlys talking at the dinner table.
Still don't understand what Dad was doing in the middle of the street.
What was it, George? Bird watching?
What, Lorraine? What?
The actual fact of what George was doing before getting struck by his father-in-law's car isn't a pleasant one. It's also not funny. Wouldn't it have made George a little more sympathetic if he was just minding his own business, reading a book or his notes, not paying attention when he's hit by the vehicle? Getting picked on by Biff is one thing, but there's nothing really in George for Marty to inspire. He has to walk him through everything and is only redeemed because he gets mad one time. And don't get me started on how creepy Lorraine is with a complete stranger to her in the next scene. Number 4.
George, aren't you gonna kiss me?
I don't know.
Scram, McFly. I'm cutting in.
So George overcomes his greatest fear and finally takes out Biff, but then walks away when a soulless ginger takes Lorraine from him? Thematically, this makes sense. You want to build tension and suspense before the day is saved, but we just went through the biggest trial of George's pathetic life. He punched Biff out. He saved Lorraine. She obviously fell for him in that last scene, so I failed to understand why this was needed other than a lazy way of having a little climax for Marty almost disappearing. And who the hell is that guy? He's never established beforehand, and we never even learn his name. After Biff, shouldn't this have been a piece of cake? I guess not, because George lets him take Lorraine and walks off. He walks away from the situation. After a few seconds of this guy's weird laugh, George returns to push him down and make out with his future wife. Hooray, I suppose? Couldn't this at least have been one or more of Biff's goons? That would have made it slightly less frustrating. I prefer the guy with the 3D glasses over Billy Zane, by the way. Number 3. To anyone who thinks this is a perfect trilogy, I give you Clara Clayton. Even if you like these movies, Clara sticks out like a sore thumb. She ruins a perfectly good premise in Back to the Future Part 3 with her strange delivery and annoying love plot with Doc. Giving Doc a love interest is not a bad concept. Hell, I'd venture as far to say it's good writing that he would find his true love outside his own time period. But Clara is just the worst.
Dolly!
In a previous scene, she dramatically changes her mind about leaving town and gives us this chestnut.
But was this man tall, with great big brown puppy dog eyes and long silvery flowing hair?
You know him.
Emmett!
While on the train, her gross incompetence nearly gets everyone killed. They all do manage to escape with their lives, but she ends up stranding Doc in the 1880s with no way home. If it wasn't for an awfully convenient time train machine Doc miraculously built in the Old West, he would have never seen Marty again, or even have known if he made it back to 1985 safely. Clara, you are the worst, and I think Marty agrees with me.
Doc, what's happening? It's Clara! She's on the train! Clara! Perfect.
Number 2.
You concocted those mendacities in order to take advantage of me. Oh, I've heard some whoppers in my day, but the fact that you'd expect me to entertain a notion like that is so insulting and degrading.
Oh, look, it's Clara again. This scene just played out all wrong and cemented Clara as the worst character in the franchise. After some convincing from Marty, Doc realizes he indeed does not belong in the Old West and agrees to go with Marty back to the future. However, he first must confront Clara and tell her he's leaving, as they've fallen in love over the short amount of time they've known each other. When Doc arrives, he tells her the truth, that he's a time traveler and must return to where he came from. Clara's reaction to this is to slap him in the face and accuse him of taking advantage of her. She totally freaks out. This scene had her come off horribly, and Doc just seems like a lovesick fool. Wouldn't this have been better if Doc didn't mention he was a time traveler? He just tells her he has to leave. Maybe something important has come up. When she asks why, he doesn't tell her and is forced to walk away as she asks more questions. Doc can shed a tear as Clara is left helplessly confused in the background. Mutually heartbroken, Clara still decides to leave, and Doc turns to a night at the bar to subdue his depressed thoughts. Instead, Clara loses it in a scene that made everyone look bad. And the number 1 worst Back to the Future Trilogy moment is...
You chicken? That's it, isn't it? Nothing but a little chicken.
This moment retroactively made Marty even dumber than he already was. Are we really supposed to believe that Marty would risk his entire mission on Biff calling him a chicken? Come on, man! It was just a dumb little plot device to give Marty a clearer weakness to get over. With absolutely no mention at all of his temper in Part 1, this always felt out of place every time it was used. But it is the worst here. Marty has pretty much won the day at this point in the movie. Biff challenges him to a final fight, which Marty easily turns down and walks away from, but then just the mention of the word chicken completely changes Marty's whole demeanor. He's drawn back into a face-to-face with Biff before the door close to them flies open. The first film's version of Marty leaves on his way to the Clock Tower event with Doc, and in the process knocks his counterpart to the ground. It's confusing to explain, but you know what I mean. Biff then takes the almanac, and we're in trouble all over again. The sheer stupidity of that action was beyond ridiculous. He willingly went back into that confrontation and nearly doomed everything. Yet this is supposed to be our hero? Pish posh! As bad as this trilogy was, the animated series based off of it was even worse. I believe my altruistic doppelganger recently spoke of it on his own filthy channel. I don't want to hear what you think, but what are some of your least favorite Back to the Future Trilogy moments? How can I destroy Walter and end this show? Leave me some hate mail and let me know. To keep in contact, you could check me out on MySpace or follow along on Zanga, where I post polls about what of Walters may be destroyed in the future. All hail our overlord Dino Rob and his magnificent army. This has been the very last episode of Top 5. Hey, did you just do a top 5 worst Back to the Future moments video? I did, and your audience hated it. Bye-bye, top 5.
How could you even come up with 5 moments? It's the perfect trilogy. Doc, Marty, and Clara are 3 of the best characters of all time.
Yeah, what, Clara, really? The deed is done. Top 5 is dead, and so are you. The final battle is upon us. You and your friends don't stand a chance against Dino Rob and his army. All hail our overlord.
The final battle? What does that mean?
It means next week, I'm gonna kill Dino Rob. Or he's gonna kill me.